to Pins and Needles Kits. We are going to be making the Moda Merit bag today, and this is a pattern that I created to go with our little badges. So it's going to be a fun, easy kit, a little bit of quilting, a little bit of piecing, and in the kit you're going to get 1 fat quarter, 3 fabrics to coordinate with the badges. You'll get a package of the badges that have 3 badges in them, and thread, and lots of other little goodies. So let's look at what's in the kit. So to create the bag, we're going to cut 2 strips of navy, and then you'll also cut 3 strips of coordinating fabrics, and these coordinate with the different badges that come with the bag. So each kit has fabric to coordinate with the particular badges. Okay, so I took the longer pieces of the 3 coordinating fabrics and subcut them, and I'm going to call this piece A, these are piece B, and these are pieces C. Okay, so we're going to do piece A first, and we'll sew each of those together with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. So I sewed each of the A pieces together, each of the B pieces together, and each of the C pieces together. The C and the A need to be in the same order, and then you switch around the B pieces. When you press the seam allowance, you're going to press the A pieces to one side and then the B pieces to the opposite side. And the reason you do that is so that when you put the pieces together, it's much easier to get those seams to line up with each other when you sew it. And then the C pieces will be pressed the same direction as the A pieces. So next I'm going to sew these together, and then I'll sew a blue piece on each side. Okay? So I just wanted to show you see how nice and neat that seam goes together when your seam allowances are pressed opposite of each other. So I've done that for both seam allowances. I've put a couple little craft clips on here, and then I'm going to sew my 1/4 inch seam allowance. So I was a Girl Scout when I was little, and I loved getting merit badges. And so when Moda came out with these badges last year, the merit badges, I just fell in love with them. So I've collected all of them, and I was trying to find things to do with them, and so this is why I decided to create this little bag so I could add some of the badges to that. And so I've got 3 of them here, and I'm going to sew them on to my outer bag. Alright, so this is my finished outer bag. So I've got the 2 navy blue pieces on the outside, and I've got it all trimmed up to about 10.5 by 15.5. And then I'm going to sew my badges on. And I love these badges. Like this one says fabric is in my blood, and this one says I love scraps, and this one says measure responsibly. So there's just all kinds of really cute fun sayings that go along with this. So when you sew the badges on, you can either zigzag them or use a straight stitch, or if you want, you can even use a fusible and fuse it to the bag. So I've cut my lining to the same size as my the top. I've squared my top off as well. It's 10 by 15.5, and then also some fusible fleece. So I'm going to take this to the ironing board, and I'm going to fuse the fleece to the lining, and then I'm going to put this on top, and I'm going to do a little quilting. Okay, so I just did my quilting, and I just did real quick quilting on this. On my bag that I've already finished, I did quilting in the ditch, and then I actually added some other rows right down the center. And on this one, I used the variegated thread, which I love, so that the colors really blended nicely. So on this one, I've got my quilting on, I added my patches, and then I went around the edges and did a zigzag stitch just to finish the edges off so that it's nice and neat. Make sure after you do your quilting that you check and make sure that your bag is square, so that everything is nice and square, all the sides are the same length. So we have our zipper in the bag, and what we want to do is make sure that we open this up part of the way so that we can get our bag open when we get finished, because if we sew both sides together and the zipper is closed, we have a really nice bag that we'll never see the outside of. So we want to make sure that we open it up, and then we're going to put our sides together, and we're going to sew about a 1/4 inch seam allowance on each side. We've already finished off the edges, so just a real quick straight stitch down this side and a straight stitch down the other side. Alright, so now we have both sides sewn up. We're going to just cut off our excess zipper, and then we want to make the little corners of the bottom of the bag. So you put your hand inside your bag and grab a hold of that corner, and you're going to flatten this out so that the imaginary bottom line is lined up with the side seam right here. Does that make sense? Make sense, Brittany? Okay. All right, and then we're going to sew about 1 inch across on this side and 1 inch across on that side, and it gives us kind of a nice flat bottom so that our bag can stand up on its own. So I've got my little puppy dog ears, all right, and so I've sewed those across, and I can just leave that on there. I'm going to turn my bag right side out and poke the corners, and guess what? We are finished. So I think you'll like this project. It was really fun, easy, I think pretty quick to make. Trim off any excess threads you have. That always bugs me. I don't know where that came from. So anyway, oh, guess what? I lost one of my patches. I fused them on, but evidently I didn't fuse it long enough. So if you use a fusible, make sure that you fuse it for the recommended amount of time. Anyway, that is our little bag for our project this month. We hope that you enjoyed this and learned a little something, and we would love for you to subscribe to our channel. Thanks, and have a great day.